All right. Salam alaikum. Peace and blessings to the family. I am Brother Shahid Ali, aka Afro Descendant Ali, live from Mombasa, Kenya, East Africa, just on the Indian Ocean. Welcome, family, once again to Live with the Los Angeles Minister Jabbar Wakil. Thank you for joining us once again here on the Muhammad Speaks news channel. This week in November, shout outs, very special happy birthday to Editor in Chief, Madam Rashana Kareem, sister also out of LA. Salute to the legend whose birthday we celebrate this week. Salute to Brother Atah in Boston. If you have birthday shout outs, let me know. Drop it in the chat. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you let us know where you're calling from. Let us know if you have any questions. We will make sure the minister gets those questions and responds. Exciting times at Muhammad Speaks News, so you definitely want to like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you are sharing this. Make sure you go to our website, MuhammadSpeaksNews.com. MuhammadSpeaksNews.com. We will be doing within the next 24 hours our update for this week coming. A lot of news, a lot of good information coming out there, especially on the heels of the election. As you see, a lot of information, a lot of news coming out, and the sentiment post-election is that this is kind of the time that Black people in America should rise. This appears to be the time where kind of the gravy train of the Democrats are over. I guess for the past 50 or 60 years, through counterintelligence operations in an attempt to subsume our people back within the United States, we saw a dearth of programs, social programs, welfare programs, WIC programs, so on and so forth, that enticed our people and convinced them to remain integrated in the American society. And it appears that that program has ended. And now we are in a time, as the messenger called, that we are being sat down upon. So there's a sentiment out there that, at least from those who are in the spirit of self-determination, that the loss of the Democrats in the presidential election is also a win for self-determination, because as long as we maintained ourselves within America under the programs that kept us tied to the country, we had no interest to pursue things such as reparations in a land that we can call our own. So we want to keep an eye on this thing, as this might be, for those who are interested in self-determination, it can be a great time. For those who choose to remain in America, it may not be such a great time. So a lot of news coming out there. We do see that the Justice Department has opened a case on Sonia Massey, the sister who was murdered by a local Illinois Police Department officer. That happened during the course of the summer. And we will see what happens there. So check up on Muhammad Speaks News. Again, we will be doing our weekly refresh on the website. within the next 24 hours. And we have a lot of things going on Muhammad Speaks News. Please support our independent journalism on Muhammad Speaks News. Please subscribe. Excuse me. We do have programs as low as we're offering subscriptions as low as $2 per month. That's right, $2 a month. Now you imagine the Muhammad Speaks newspaper itself costs $2. Now you have Muhammad Speaks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just for what you used to pay for one newspaper. You have it full time at your fingertips, on your phone, on your laptop, on your tablet. And in about a month or so, we want to also roll out an app. That's right, a Muhammad Speaks app. So we are digitizing this legendary institution of Muhammad Speaks, this 60-year-old institution. Our inheritance in the lost foundation of Islam is becoming fully digitized, as you see on our social media platforms here. So please go to MuhammadSpeaksNews.com, subscribe, become a member. There are 2 tiers, $2 a month, and also there's another tier, $5 a month, where you will get additional premium access. And if you pay the full price for a year for the standard or premium plan, you will get 1 month off. So at $2 a month, the cost for the year would be $24. But if you pay the entire year at once, the full cost will be $22. You will get 1 month free. And for the $5 tier, the premium plan, which we hope everyone will take, if you if you make the payment at once, that for the year it would be $60, but you would get 1 month free, and that would be $55. So please become a subscriber, support Black journalism. I am not your speaker. I am opening up for Minister Jabbar Wakil, and he has a very exciting message, as he does every week, giving us the latest and greatest news and information from a Black Muslim, contemporary Muslim, current event standpoint, because how you would want to position Muhammad Speaks as news for the Black world, and the time and what must be done. We must be fully aware for the time. And shout out to the 2 people we have in the chat. Please make sure you like the live stream. Shout us out. Let us know who you are. Let us know where you're coming from. And if you have any questions, I'll forward them on to Minister Jabbar. So in addition to the subscription at the Muhammad Speaks website, we have opened a store on Muhammad Speaks, so we are selling merch. So we have done it around slogans that are most common to the Lost Foundation of Islam, Muhammad Speaks News, and the Honorable Salis Muhammad. So they come in 3 items. There's a mug, there's a t-shirt, there are hoodies. And the 4 slogans were centered around, we have Hear Silas, we have Speak the Truth, we have God is Man, and we have We Are Human Beings. So make sure you get your Hear Silas t-shirt, hoodie, or mug, or any of the other slogans there. And you will be supporting the Honorable Salis Muhammad. You will also be supporting independent journalism in Muhammad Speaks News. Not only that, for Muhammad Speaks News, excuse me, it's just a little warm here. The weather has changed, so so bear with me. My apologies. We are offering advertising opportunities monthly with low monthly costs at around $25 a month, you can advertise your business on MohammedSpeaksNews.com, a site that gets traffic, that is updated, a high quality site. And again, this is for news for the entire Black world. Shout out, thank you for the likes, everyone. Let us know who you are in the chat. If you're a believer, we definitely want to know where you are, and if you're checking in as well. I am not your speaker. I'm Brother Shahid Ali, aka Afro Descendant Ali, live and direct from East Africa, Mombasa, Kenya. Excuse me. So with all that said, please make sure you check out some of the content there. We also look forward to selling some of the Messenger's books. We also want to have a bean pie program where we're shipping bean pie and other baked products. The world famous bean pie that we have, that's the recipe in the Lost Foundation of Islam. We'd like to ship that nationwide. So again, that's why you definitely want to subscribe to Muhammad Speaks, because we're updating things every week on the website and our social media sites. Oh, and also we are now on TikTok. So we are definitely on fire with spreading this message as much as possible. We'll also be putting out a call, because as you can see on the channel, you're not seeing much in the way of lectures by the Honorable Salis Muhammad, and salute, walaikum salam, Brother Rashid, all the way from San Antonio, Texas, by way of Chi-Town. Salute, brother, appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. Also, in addition to TikTok and all the digital platforms, we need lectures by the Honorable Salis Muhammad that have been digitized. There's not much that have been digitized at this time, so we're doing a call out. If you have any CDs that you can rip and send us the digital files, we would love to upload it on Muhammad Speaks News so we can start a live digital library and get as many lectures as we can digitized by the Honorable Salis Muhammad. In addition to the digital lectures, we also want to upload any transcribed lectures or old centerfolds by the Honorable Salis Muhammad from previous issues of Muhammad Speaks, going all the way back to 1977. So if you are in possession and you would like to donate to the collection, the digital collection of the Honorable Salis Muhammad's library on Muhammad Speaks News, please do so. And please check out some of the videos. We do have a nice short bio of the Honorable Salis Muhammad on our website, on the Salis Muhammad tab, which should be the second tab from the home page. We have a nice little photo library of the history of the Honorable Salis Muhammad. Walaikum salam. Salute to the Philadelphia family, the hardworking sister Mecca Shabazz. She's probably live streaming it on Twitter. We will need a Muhammad Speaks Twitter page that I'll also be setting up, and that should cover us all over social media. We'll have Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all covered, and just being able to keep up with the feverish pace of news. We'll be updating those things frequently. We also dropped a video this week. The messenger confirmed eating one meal a day. It's nothing new, really. It's kind of been the last 10, 15, 20 years where we see that mainstream has grabbed hold of this diet, intermittent fasting. So actually I put the video together. I did the editing on that, where this guy Lex Friedman, he was interviewing Jordan Peterson, and he started talking about how he eats one meal a day. and the psychological benefits of eating one meal a day and the mental clarity, things of that nature. And then I started to do some research and saw that this not the first time that this guy talked about it. Also, Jordan Peterson was in on that conversation where he talked about the possible physiological effects of eating one meal a day, confirming the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, even though it was labeled that we don't care whether or not people confirm the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because we know he's 100% right and exact. Those of us who follow the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is confirmed by Almighty God Allah Himself. So we don't. It doesn't really matter who else confirms him outside of God, right? However, we did label it as that, just to show you that this is something that people, not just our people, are kind of clinging on to, eating one meal a day and so many other things. And just wanted to share that. So make sure you check that video out. There's a few other, what do you call it, Easter eggs in there on that video that you might find interesting as well. Um, and, it's good to get familiar with, some other podcasts and seeing what other people are into. That's the latest video on Muhammad Speaks News. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe to that. We also look forward to having more videos of our ministers. And then hopefully we'll be starting table talks with Silas Muhammad soon, in the spirit of the messenger doing his table talks. We also want to have table talks with the Honorable Silas Muhammad. Keep your fingers crossed if you would like to have and send any questions on that. Please send those questions to Muhammad Speaks News at gmail.com. That's Muhammad Speaks News at gmail.com. And I almost finished. Thank you for bearing with me. I am not your speaker, Minister Jabbar Wakil, as you can see in the title. He will be your speaker. And salute to all four of you. Thank you for joining us. Please make sure you like, share on your social media feeds. Let them know that we are on, and Minister Jabbar will be bringing some of this good information about many current events that's what's going on at this time. Some of his personal thoughts there, bringing you the teachings of the Honorable Silas Muhammad. We'd love to get some more of our ministers on here, which we will be doing soon as well. And also, to believers, we'll also be having a town hall for Muhammad Speaks. So make sure you share, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. This is your newspaper. So all feedback is welcome. The Muhammad Speaks is your newspaper and belongs to all of us. So with that said, I see the minister is on here. So I am going to close out. Your background is looking a little different today, Minister. Where are you checking in from this week?
I am at Headquarters Temple in Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
So I decided to put the actual, I'm at the rostrum in the temple here at headquarters. I did attend headquarters meeting today. It ended an hour ago. So while I'm standing at the rostrum, I don't have an audience in the room. The audience is you in the virtual audience. I am here in headquarters or in Atlanta because my brother called on. He and I, I'm talking about Robbie College Shabazz. He and I have been working in the bakery business for quite a many years and moving heavy equipment that seemed impossible for us to move for many years. And he informed me that he made a bid on a rack oven. I don't know if you know what a rack oven is, but It's a very large piece of bakery equipment. And he didn't expect to win the auction. He did, so he now had to go and pick up the equipment. And he didn't have any help. So I came to Atlanta to assist my brother. And it turned out that he had two pieces of equipment. And I'm going to show that to you. We'll share the screen. Let's see here. Well, that is the truck we moved the ovens in. That is the two ovens now on the parking lot behind the temple in Atlanta. There is one of the ovens, wow, that's Kahalit on the ladder, disconnecting the motor at the top. So this where in the store where we extracted it from. And that's the other one, the first one that we unloaded off the truck. So as you can see, this brother and I have gotten some good work done with moving that equipment. So that's why I'm in Atlanta. I want to have a conversation with you today on the subject of, just a second here. Okay, there we are. On the subject of, let me find it. It says, I have a title. It's not the title that is on the page. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Reparations, human rights, and the legal right to self-determination. That's an old saying we are all familiar with. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It really simply means that, you can't enjoy one choice while at the same time enjoying an opposing choice. You have to choose one or the other. And when it comes to reparations, human rights, and the legal right to self-determination, I think that the conceptions that most people have in their minds on the subject need a little adjusting or a little reality check. Um, when you're faced with two choices and you have to choose one and you want to choose both, but they're opposing, that's when we say you can't have your cake and eat it too. When it comes to reparations, human rights, and the legal right to self-determination, what that is and what it is in the minds of the majority of the people I hear speaking on the subject, there seems to be to me, a disconnection. Well, let's get into it. If we, Afro-descendants, truly want reparations, truly want recognition as human beings, which is what human rights amounts to, and we truly want to invoke our legal right to self-determination, as other nations of people have done, then we have some really hard choices to make. And we can't ask for freedom while staying tied to those who deny us that freedom. So by the end of this talk, I want you to understand why separation is not just something that we talk about, but it is an absolute necessity for achieving reparations, for achieving self-dignity and respect as human beings, and sovereignty and the right to be self-determining without any external interference. So we need to talk about what these things are. Reparations, when I listen to very highly educated, professional Black people with sincere intent, working hard toward the cause for reparations, I don't take anything away from anyone, but there is a truth that we have to recognize. We are aware of reparations being paid in the United States of America to the Native Indians. And we are aware of reparations being paid in America to the Japanese who were interned during the World War. Those are unique cases. In the case of the Native Indians, and this is the way most of us think about it. It's why I'm bringing this up. In the case of the Native Indians, the Native Indians did not seek reparations independent of the U.S. government. The U.S. government initiated the claims for reparations for the Native Indians against itself. It would be like I ran into the back of your car with my car. I was at fault. I damaged you. I damaged your car. I interfered with your income and your health and the health of your family members in the car. And you don't initiate the lawsuit for your repair. I initiate the lawsuit against me on your behalf for your repair. That is the way in which the Native Indians reparations came about. The federal government established the Indian Claims Commission, and the Indian Claims Commission provided reparations to the Native Indians in the form and manner that they, the government, the defendant in the case of reparations, wanted to pay it rather than in the way it warranted being paid. For example, when the Europeans came to the United States of America and took this land from the Native Indians and committed genocide on the Native Indians. They were multiple nations, independent, free nations. And when they received their reparations after it was all said and done, they were not repaired to the state of a free and independent sovereign state or nation. They were repaired to the state of a subject people with limited sovereignty. For the federal government has final say on all decisions that the tribal governments make. So that is not an actual repair back to the original state prior to the damage. Reparations in international law is the payment from one nation to another nation for damages done by that nation to that nation, to be repaired to its original state before the damage is done. This is an international claim for us if we want to receive it in the proper manner. We, like the Native Indians, were from multiple different states and nations on the continent of Africa, or if those of some of us were here, those who were here, we were different nations, different states, and we need to be repaired to a position of being a sovereign, independent, self-governing, self-protecting, self-independent state. And since we were deprived of everything we had, we were deprived of our human right to exist as human beings on the planet, separate and distinct from other human beings. Human beings on the planet are recognized and honored and respected by their unique qualities. Every nation has a unique identity, a unique language, a unique culture, a unique way of life or way of worshiping their deity. All of that was taken from us. Our land, our independence, our language, our culture, our way of life. It was all taken, and we were forced into the language, culture, and religion of our slave masters in whatever part of the slavery diaspora we happen to be scattered into. So, and if we're going to be restored, which is what reparations is, and restored as human beings, which is what human rights are, and exercise the legal right to self-determination, which is what all nations have, then we cannot do that while at the same time holding on to our position with good old America. For you who think it's good old America, you have to have amnesia to think it's good old America. I saw a post. The young lady said that she was explaining to her child the George Floyd incident when the child was about 6. And when she was 6, her mother had to explain to her Rodney King. And when her mother was 6, it was Emmett Till. If you have amnesia, then you can forget, or are blind, deaf, and dumb, and therefore cannot see what's happening around you even today, then yes, I could understand why you would want to have your cake and eat it too. I could understand why you would want your reparations and your human rights and your legal right to self-determination and keep on holding on to America, the United States of America, because now that she has reached the end of her time to rule and is desperate for extending her time as long as possible, in the best way to extend her time as long as possible is through by deceiving you and I and convincing us that there is a future, a bright future for us in the United States of America. Well, there's not a bright future for us in the United States of America because there's not a bright future in the for the United States of America and its actual citizens. We spoke about the Native Indians receiving their reparation. And they received $818 million in reparations from the federal government, and yet remain as wards of the state. Around the same time, the 1940s, that the Indian Claims Commission was established, also the Jews began their quest for reparations and a homeland. And they received their reparations and a homeland. Now, the damage to the Jews is attributed to Germany during World War II, when they were cooked in ovens in the concentration camps and other torturous deaths and sickness that they experienced during the Jewish Holocaust. Yet their reparations came in the form of land from Palestine. How did that occur? That's not part of our conversation today. We'll get to that at another time. Brother Minister Ahmed Sadiq, Senator Ahmed Sadiq in Chicago did a good job of covering that last week at the the plebiscite voter marathon that was held on Tuesday, Election Day. You should watch that on YouTube. We are talking about the difference between the Jews and the native Indians. The Jews received their reparations in the form of land. They received aid to take care of themselves on this independent land long enough to do for self. They now have a complete sovereign position on the world stage. There is no other government that has a say in their decisions like the native Indians have the U.S. government interfering with their decisions, ruling over them. They have what is called limited sovereignty, which sounds to me like an oxymoron. How can you be sovereign and it be limited? How can you be free and it be limited? You are either free or you're not. And then we have the Japanese who were interned. Yes, they received their reparations in the form of cash. But unlike the native Indians and we, Afro descendants, the Japanese victims of America's tyranny, they still have their nation, Japan. They still have their language, Japanese. They still have their culture, a very clean and honorable culture. And they still have their religion. They just needed to be compensated for the damages done to them during World War II, which they were able to receive as a result of some pressure being placed on the American government by their nation, Japan. So they didn't have the need to be restored to sovereignty. They can go home at will. The native Indians are at home, have no sovereignty. We have been taken from home, have no sovereignty. How then can we be repaired to the status of an independent nation? How can we be restored to well, we can't be restored to our original language, culture, and religion because we are completely removed from it. And don't believe what you have been told about the DNA and checking your history. It is not accurate. It is absolutely inaccurate. And that can be proven. You are depending on the United States government, and the United States government is opening up doors for you. The United States, for some of you, some of us, but the majority are still suffering in the worst neighborhoods, in the worst conditions, with the worst education, and the worst food supply, and the worst water supply in the country. That's most of us. But they are granting privileges to some of us. And to those privileged few, we want to continue to receive the so-called American dream, while at the same time we recognize the injustices, I should say you, recognize the injustices done to us, and recognize that reparations need to be paid and we need to be compensated for the wrongs done to us. But you want to stay in America. You want to hold on to the American dream, to the American way of life. You want to keep your beautiful home and your nice car in the garage and your vacations. Well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. The legal right to self-determination is a right that states have, that people have, that governments have. That once you decide, we decide, that we are an independent state, a unique and separate people from the rest of the people on the earth, and we should be recognized as such and have our seat on the world stage among the other nations in the United Nations that are recognized as nations. We can't do that while remaining as Americans, hyphenated Americans. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You got to have, you got to choose one or the other. Without separation, reparations would be meaningless because the same system would control how they are given and how they're used. And the same system would control what you used it on. So what must be done today is we have to embrace a realistic mindset. Reparations is paid from one nation to another nation when it's properly paid. Reparations root word is repair, or you want to be repaired or restored to your original condition. You can't be repaired or restored to your original condition while at the same time remaining as a minority in the United States of America. You have to choose one or the other. Now, I might be going too far. One of the things that has been spoken of is that while we are a great collection of people, over 250 million throughout the diaspora, over 40 million in the United States alone. And I think that number is much higher because I've never participated in the census, and I know many people who are the same. So with the combination of their desire to undercount us and us not desiring to be counted, I believe our numbers are much larger than the 40 plus million that they say. We know that we're not going to have all of us thinking exactly the same. But we all have to unite around a system, a method that will work. We have to embrace a new mindset and stop looking for the same system that enslaved us to save us. We have to understand that freedom comes with responsibility, and no one is going to hand it to us. No one. We have to organize to achieve unity. And unity is necessary for achieving reparations. Unity is necessary for achieving human rights. Unity is necessary for invoking our legal right to self-determination. We need to unite under one common purpose as Afro-descendants, which is our new nationality, our identity. Like the Japanese have Japan, and they're called Japanese. That's their nationality, their identity. Except that the Japanese have a land-based. We don't. That's yet to come. But we are going to have our specific land base. We have to take some action. We have to educate ourselves on international law and human rights, which I have to give honor and respect and praise to the Honorable Silas Muhammad. He is responsible for bringing international law and human rights and their definitions and meanings and structure to the mainstream for Afro descendants. We have to demand recognition as a distinct people entitled to self-determination. Now, it's kind of difficult for us to demand recognition as an Afro descendant when we won't self-identify ourselves as Afro descendants. We have to make that decision. And when we talk about having our bread and eating it too, and you're having to make a choice here that prevents you from making the choice there because you can't make two opposing choices. I want to make a distinction between the word choice and the word decision, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote an article entitled "The Day of Decision," and we are in a day of decision. And the distinction between a choice and a decision is choices don't require a whole lot of thought. When you're faced with a situation and you look at the options before you and you choose this one over that one, that's making a choice. That's not making a decision. That's making a choice. Making a decision is identifying where you are, identifying where you want to be, and observing what it's going to take, what it is between where you are and where you want to be, and what it's going to take to get you there, and making a decision to take an action that'll get you there. That's a decision. Where we are as a people is we are, like the native Indians, subjects of the United States of America, who has deceived us and continues to deceive us into believing that we are citizens of this nation. We are not. So we are a stateless people who are proud, who are intelligent, who are strong, who are the greatest people on earth. And we have no voice on the world stage. We have no land that we can call our own. We have no political system that fulfills our needs. But we want that. So what do we have to decide today to get from here, a stateless people, to there, a recognized, prosperous state on a land that we can call our own? That's where we are today. We need to make that decision. And the Honorable Silas Muhammad, who has committed and devoted and dedicated his entire life since about 1960 to our receiving justice from our tormentors, our slave masters, our robbers of our knowledge of self and kind. We have to educate ourselves on international law and human rights. We have to demand recognition as Afro descendants, as a distinct people entitled to self-determination. And we have to use reparations as a tool to restore ourselves on a land that we can call our own. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad provided the framework for that in What the Muslims Want, number 4. You should go and read it. So the message that I seek to share with you today is that if you truly want what other nations of people want, then you're going to have to make a decision. You can't have your newly acquired wonderful life as an American hyphenated pseudo citizen while at the same time experiencing your freedom, justice, and equality on a land that you can call your own. Now, just like in the example we used earlier of Japan, the nation of Japan exists. It's an island nation in the South Pacific. Yet, Japanese people live all over the earth, just like so many other nationalities. And so, with us, Afro descendants here in the United States of America, it is possible that we can acquire a land that we can call our own, separate and distinct territory, a separate state with equality with every other state. And while at the same time have citizens of that Afro-descendant nation reside in other states. Like there are Japanese people who live in the United States of America and Chinese people who live in the United States of America and South Americans and Central Americans and Arabs. Likewise, we can have a state of our own, and some of us reside in different states around the globe. But like it was with the Jewish state of Israel when it was established, the Jewish people from all over the world got together and worked toward the achievement of a homeland for the Jews. We, Afro descendants, whether we want to have a separate state or territory as I do, or if you want to stay in the United States of America as many of you do, we all need to come together and fight for the state, whether you want to live in it or live somewhere else, because having it provides a level of protection for you wherever you are. So I want you to think of the sacrifices that our ancestors have made for us to stand here today. It is our turn to honor them by making the hard decision for the next generation. Separation isn't easy, but it's the only way that we will achieve true freedom, justice, and equality. For how can we consider ourselves equal to any other nation or a state when we are not a nation or a state ourselves? Will you choose the change or will you hold on to the comfort? That is the question. As I said when I began the message, I'm traveling. I am in Atlanta. It was not an expected trip. And I don't want to spend the length of time that I normally spend with you tonight. I should have said this earlier in the presentation. I only want to spend 1 hour instead of two. I want to enjoy the company of some of the brothers and sisters that I don't get to see too often while I'm here. And at the same time, I have to honor my commitment to see you every Sunday at 2. So I thank you for coming. I hope that you have enjoyed this message. I hope that you gained something from it. We do have to make a decision today. Do we want a state of our own that can protect us no matter where we're domiciled throughout the world? Or do we want to remain as underlings, like the native Indians, who are almost invisible? We have to choose correctly because we can't have our cake and eat it too. I know this message today has been short. I hope that you appreciate it anyway. You might even appreciate it more. I have been told I talk too much, but I'm passionate about this. Um, I'm in agreement with Moses in the Old Testament. Moses didn't teach the children of Israel to integrate into Egypt. He separated them. He told them, your God is not Pharaoh's God, or Pharaoh's God is not your God. Well, the same thing applies to us, but we don't make that distinction. And it, to me, is really surprising. We have so many religious scholars of the Bible and scholars of the Holy Quran in the Afro-descendant community or nation. Yet, so few look at the stories and see the parallels in our lives. So few. You look at the story of the slaves being captured in Egypt and treated evil and don't see yourself. They spent 400 years, you spent 400 years, but you don't see yourself. The Jews claim it, but there's no evidence to back it up that they've ever been in bondage to any man, as they said in your Bible. So hopefully, you who are experts, students of these scriptures, will recognize that they are of no value to you at all if you don't see yourself when you read them. I see myself when I read them. I see a people whom God is going to come and make himself a nation out of. That's what I see. And I'm working to help that job get done. And I'm not looking to have my cake and eat it too. I will be happy to be the one, be a part of the group of us who will represent us on our land that we can call our own. And you who want to stay, no problem. I'm gonna be wherever we are. One of the elements that, one of the most important elements that states are recognized by is they have a defined geographical location. We have to achieve that. And we're not going to achieve that divided. We're not going to achieve that trying to have our cake and eat it too. So thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much for listening. For you who will be listening on the internet in the future, we appreciate you as well. We want you to continue to pay attention. We're doing, I'm doing a lot of talking, but uh, this is not about talk. It's about actions. We have to do what we need to do to achieve what we need to achieve. And so continue to tune in, continue to listen, and continue to look for the actions that'll back the conversations we are having. Thank you again. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Brother Shahid, do you have anything to ask or add or contribute, or any questions from any audience members?
No, sir. Great lecture. And no questions in the chat. I just wanted to send the greetings to everyone there. Assalamu alaikum, family. And thank you for joining. We will see you next week.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.